We're back. There you go. Welcome back. And if you just joined us, thank you for taking the time out. 9yrsTV at the Cherry Red Record Stadium ahead of a big game in League One this evening. And we've got some big name guests as well. Goals. That's what I'm saying between you two. Two spells. Just the one.
Just the one.
Hopefully two in the future. Hopefully two in the future. Lyle Taylor, welcome to Plough Lane.
Thank you.
Welcome to Plough Lane. David Connolly. Welcome to Plough Lane.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. It's good to see you. It's good I haven't said hello today, but I said hello to you. It is what it is. Firstly, your impressions of this stadium.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been here before, so it's beautiful, very impressive. I've driven past it a lot. Normally, I'm working, so I haven't been here. But yeah, it's great. It's finally come together.
Very different to that place in South Norwood, isn't it?
Yes. Played at the old Plough Lane when I was younger, and obviously, look, it's great. See everyone having food and meals beforehand, and it's terrific.
Lyle, which end do you reckon you're going to be scoring in?
Both, hopefully. Am I getting a deal?
Mate,
no.
Talk to me.
It's my first time here as well,
do
you know what? It's nice to see what we, and that's everyone, fans, all of the players that have past and present and played 1 or 100 or however many games. It's nice to see what we've achieved as a group of people and as a community come together in, I suppose, plastic and grass, and it's a beautiful thing to finally see, because it was a long time spent away from home for this football club, and it's something.
It's good to have you here. It's really good to have you here. I mean, we saw you tear things up at Kingsman. Having you here on pitch in that jersey it's just a dream, isn't it, Anne-Marie?
It's just crazy. I can't believe it's both of your first time being here tonight, and I suppose it's one of the finishing touches, really, as a bit of a fangirl. I love that you didn't introduce me as having scored any goals for Wimbledon. I did make an appearance for the ladies at a substitute once.
How'd it go?
Yeah. We'll leave that.
Let's not talk about it. David, let's talk about your time here. You joined Wimbledon Football Club in a really difficult position at the start of the 2000s, but the goals you scored for the club, what a record.
Yeah, I mean, it was. It came about actually from a teammate of mine for Ireland, Kenny Cunningham. Really, he brokered the deal. I'd agreed to stay in Holland, and he happened to call me on the way to basically go to sign over there, and they just sold Jason Ewell for a lot of money to Charlton, ironically, and they needed a centre forward, and I said, well, I've just agreed in a deal over here. Have you signed it? No, I haven't signed it. He said, well, just hold fire. And then before you know it, I spoke to Terry Burton, and the deal was done. I had 2 very happy years here. Great dressing room, really great lads, terrific teammates, very good team, scored loads of goals, me and Neil Shipley, great partnership up top, and probably would have stayed barring obviously the club, with what happened with the club. So two really happy seasons.
What was it like playing amongst what was going on in the background? Was it difficult? Yeah,
I mean, as you go on in your career, and Lyle will probably, be the same, but I ended up at Portsmouth in a similar situation, played for some great clubs, and unfortunately what can happen with football clubs is it is a business as well, so it can go well and it can also go badly at times. And it was a really testing period. What you knew is, though, that if you were one of the players that were doing well or had some value, you were going to be sold, and that was it. And it was a real shame to see what happened to the Dons, but obviously it's taken a long time, as Lyle said, but back now. But I look back on those seasons as being probably some of my happiest.
Was that your best goal scoring season?
I think best season in terms of how we played, because we had at other clubs, like Lyle will tell you, football's evolved, but at that time I was in a straight 4-4-2. Big man, little man, and my last goal I think here was off Bayo. Big man, little man, and the likes of Neil Shipley and people like that made things a lot easier for you, because I was really a penalty box player, finisher, and after that I didn't really ever play that often up front in a 2 that regularly. Just at West Ham I changed to a sort of 10, and that came out of the box a bit more, and things evolved now. There's like wide attackers, but at that time I was a pure sort of 4-4-2 merchant, really.
Should we have a look at that goal?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Well, yeah. That's not it. So that's the wrong one.
That's not it. There you go. Oh, it's coming. It's en route. It's en route. That's what we've been told.
Oh, this is the game. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. What a
Ballman.
strike from Danny.
Danny Ballman. Here tonight.
Is he?
He's here tonight.
Is he not playing?
No.
He's got to hang up his boots at some point.
There's
isn't he?
steam coming off his boots. What are you on about? Oh, there you go. There's the combo. There's the link.
And I mean, I've got to be honest, I was 38 here, and you know, I could just about play a little bit, and the flick on from Bayo took down the keeper. But that was kind of me really. I did well to last that long. Lyle will tell you, it gets harder, you know, as you get older. So that was pleasing. Nice way to end.
Squad number 34. Number 34, I think you were there.
I can't. Could be.
It is number 34 because what? It must have been a few months later. 33 comes in.
Yes. Literally.
2015, number 33. You arrived after a real fascinating journey. We've talked about this journey because it took you some far-flung places to go and play football. But was this the club you felt was home?
This became home, yeah. And that was why it was so important for me to get back here when I was trying to get out of Scunny. And that it took a few toys being thrown out the pram, and a few conversations to be had with the powers that be, but eventually we got it done. And yeah, it was the thing that reignited my career was being here.
I mean, that forward line you played in is probably my favourite forward line. Yourself, Tom Elliott, Bayo, who we will talk about in a moment. You had little Adi Aziz off the bench as well. It
had everything. It had a little bit of everything, and there was plenty of physicality in that four. I mean, Ards used to call it pace and power. I'm not sure you're allowed to be calling it that anymore. I mean, you probably get cancelled, but but yeah, no, it was something else. And I mean, I remember chasing plenty of Bayo's flick-ons from his nitro pad that he had on his head. Honestly, the ball used to go up to him and it hit his bald spot, the whole thing, any part of the ball bit, and it used to just take off. But I remember a loopy ball up to him and you'd think, okay, this isn't really going to go far, and it would just skim off the sweat and 40 yards behind you. You're like, hang on, what's going on there then? But that was what...
Well, David Connolly knows all about it.
Well, he had a great touch as well.
Oh, unbelievable.
His link-up play was excellent, so yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. We're going to be looking at the playoff highlights in a minute, but there's a game that I remember very clearly at Kingsmeadow, one of its famous night games against a club who we don't really talk much about on this channel in general. But Lyle, what a game. This has got to be up there with your favourites.
Yeah, I mean, the atmosphere, the place was bouncing that night, and I mean, Reevesy didn't score many goals. I seem to remember that one and one against York the year before. But he didn't score many goals, but the ones he did were fairly important. And I mean, Barchi does brilliantly there at the back post to knock that back in. And do you know what? I don't really remember any of this.
That's got to be one of your favourite goals.
Yeah, but so you know when you're playing football and you're scoring goals and whatever, you're in the moment and you remember what happens and you can relive it. I do not remember getting that ball from the throw-in. I just remember celebrating. I don't remember anything in between. I don't remember. You can normally see it through your own eyes, but I can't remember any of it. And it's mad. But that whole night was just something
Special.
Yeah.
Amory, what a night.
I've got goosebumps just like watching it, listening to it. It was mad, and I think even from a fan's perspective, I know exactly what you mean. I don't remember the goal going in, but I remember you running and what you said and how we all felt on the night. It felt so therapeutic. I think that result for a lot of fans. There was a lot of closure. Yeah, it was amazing.
Someone from the 9 Years podcast managed to get me a ticket on the Ken Flow, and I just sort of hid a bit. And there's a picture of me next to a banner. About 4 years later, someone DM'd me on Twitter and goes, "Were you the one singing that song, like this certain song?" And I was like, "No." And they've popped up and there's a photo of me in the corner. I'm like, "Oh yeah, maybe it was." But what a special night. I mean, Lyle, the playoff final, Wembley, leading up to it, you know, up until December, I remember my first ever game as a broadcaster was Stevenage at home. Teddy Sheringham in charge of Stevenage. I remember it wasn't a nice place. I think we were beaten by a 1-0, and it didn't feel too good. But then, December onwards, something changed.
Everything changed. We seemed to just pick up momentum, and in football, momentum is so important. You feel like you can win a game, and you just roll into the next one, and you win again, and you just steamroller everyone. I don't know what the official figures are, but we can't have lost any more than 2 or 3 games after the new year. And I mean, we made it into the playoffs. I think it was Stevenage away. We were guaranteed to be in the playoffs, finished 7th, and it was like, right, now we're going in the playoffs. But there was no ego with it. There was no big-headedness. There was no arrogance. It was just go win the playoffs. And it was that simple. There wasn't a single point where we thought we could be backs against the wall here. And I mean, the way it panned out was unbelievable.
With this club, there feels like there are specific milestone moments, even within games, that you will remember. You know, you'll think. I remember Bayo cracking the post when the ball just drops to, and you just see a foot come out of nowhere, bang, he cracks the post, and you think their goalkeeper, the Accrington goalkeeper's like, he's on a warning. And then you see Keller Roos make that save at the other end, and just the ground go crazy. It was such an incredible night. I think, here we go. We're watching the highlights now. What a night it was. Here you go.
I remember before the game, and even during the game, it felt really strange. I didn't feel fantastic. I'd had a really bad week or 2 weeks, and do you know what? It sounds ridiculous, but the reason I'd had such a bad 2 weeks was it stemmed from the player awards, end of season awards, and I didn't win anything. Obviously, I was top scorer that season, but I didn't win anything. And there came a point where I sat there and I thought, do you know what? I feel really underappreciated here. For everything we've achieved as a team, and for everything I've achieved personally, I feel really underappreciated. And I remember there was a conversation between me and the manager, and it was about 45 minutes long. And there was a good few things to get off my chest, and a good few things that he got off of his chest. And it kind of culminated in the performance we got in the second leg of this. I mean, really bad start. I don't know what Ricky's thinking there. The penalty, brilliant. He was a cocky little
Josh Windass.
So-and-so. But
shades of his dad, David.
Yeah.
And then
this hell of a strike.
Yeah, I mean, well,
It's by far my all-time favourite Wimbledon game.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
I've still got mine.
do you like that kit, by the way?
Yeah, loved it. I've still got mine at home.
Have you?
I've got some really random kits that people would look at and go, "That's horrible." And I've got all of the random
Why's
horrible.
Bayo just push Bocce away?
Pushes everyone away. That's just what B does. But no one else scores that goal.
I mean, this is what we call a real hit-and-eye ball, but there he just gets on it every time.
Yeah.
Every single time he was there.
It was
Addy
so
Aziz.
effective. So effective. And I mean, didn't we have the lights went out? Someone pulled
Yeah.
the plug on the
Yeah.
generator or something like that. It was just a mad night. And I mean, I've still got the pictures of celebrating on the pitch with the fans. It was just crazy, and all the torches going on, and great rugby tackle from Reevesy. That has got to be the most underrated piece of play anyone's ever pulled off without getting
That taking the shot off the rebound, David, jump in on this. Taking a shot of a rebound must be harder than taking a shot more cleanly, because you've got to time it perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, the ball's obviously coming back to, coming across. Yeah, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, but I tell you what, if you ask most of the forwards who've got one touch finish into nearly an empty net, you'd take it all day long.
100%. And you don't. It's not something you think about.
No.
It's instinctive. At that point, you're not thinking, "Oh, there's the goal, there's the ball. Let me do this, let me do that." It's just clean contact, on target. that's all you think about. And this day really was something. We turned.
Tell us
up.
about that goal, by the way.
I don't know. You just kind of find yourself somewhere in the box and the ball drops to you. It was Cal will tell you, it was a really bad cross that turns into a really good cross because someone gets on the end of the sticks in the bottom corner. This definitely isn't a penalty. I mean, nobody could sit there with a straight face and say that's a penalty.
Tell us what happens in this one when Bayo grabs the ball as well.
It kicked off big time. Callum wanted to take the penalty. I was designated penalty taker.
Right.
Callum wanted to take the penalty because his dad had passed. Bayo wanted to take the penalty because he thought he'd be the next in line. Addy wanted to take the penalty because he won it. The only way it would have been solved is if I'd have been on the pitch and I'd have said, no, I'm taking it. But, I mean, there was a little bit said about it in the aftermath, and it kind of put a bit of a bad tint on everything. But ultimately that's forgotten because all we remember is the success of the day.
What was the day like in general, from start to finish?
Well, we turned up in our tracksuits looking like rag-arse rovers. We actually looked like rag-arse rovers. Tracksuits we've worn all year, like bobbly, covered in stains. Like we looked like crap, and they all turned up. They all had the same suits on, the same shirt, same tie, same shoes. And I remember there was a little winger who had played for Wimbledon before, and he was at Plymouth. I can't remember what his name was, and he was giving it stacks. He was going, yeah, we're going to smash you lot. Look at us, we're going to walk all over you. And we were all just sat there like, all right, I suppose we'll see. And it was just a quiet confidence from us. And as soon as that game started, there was no way we were ever losing.
What did Neil say pre-game?
Couldn't tell you. Probably something like, kick it in the goal really hard.
But you must have been in your zone, like, bang, we're focused, like, you just sat there literally in your zone. You can't hear things around you.
No, I was never really in a zone. No, I used to put my own music on, play games on my phone. And I still do it now. And I mean, at Birmingham now, if you use your phone after a certain time in the dressing room, it's a fine. But I sit there, I've said, no, it's not a fine. I sit there and play puzzle games. That's what I do. I listen to music and play puzzle games.
David Connolly, you must have played Snake in your
I couldn't play much on my phone now because it's about that big.
Yeah. The old lemon, Nokia lemon, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Pre-match for you, though, I mean, it must have been a different atmosphere back then.
It wasn't that long ago.
This club's moved, things have changed here.
I mean, when I came back to AFC, you know, at the time Neil needed some firepower, etc. So everyone, you know, the first time I was a little bit different. Second time around, you know, I think he just wanted people he knew, he trusted, and I think Neil was very much like that as a manager. You know, like simple messages maybe, but everyone had to know their jobs.
Yeah.
Everyone had to do their jobs, and I think he liked people that he could be honest with. You know, and you know, when things change in a cup final, that's when things can go wrong. You know, I reached the cup final, reached a Plough final, championship with West Ham, and we changed things for that final. And really, we probably shouldn't have done. You know, Lyle saying they went in tracksuits. To me, I think that's Neil probably just wanted to keep everything the same and just focus on your game. And you know, and I think that's sensible. I think Neil did really well as a manager here.
Yeah,
you know, he did really well. And he was a big part of me coming back the second time around. I probably wouldn't have come back, but former teammate and he was a manager.
What celebrations like?
I remember being blinded by champagne. Honestly, I don't really remember that much of it. It's mad. You don't. You remember the success and you remember how you felt, but you don't remember the individual moments. And then all the boys went off to Vegas, so yeah, I missed out.
Darius did his Wolf of Wall Street impression.
Yes, he did. Well, we came back to the stadium, didn't we?
Of course,
and,
yeah.
Ivor,
yeah.
Danny DeVito in his prime.
Did you hear me say that on Fighting Talk, by the way?
No, did it?
No, it went down really well. I won a point on BBC's Fighting Talk the other week. They were asked what sporting film needs to be made. I said, look, John Green should make sort of the greatest story ever told in football, the movie, and Danny DeVito has to play Ivor Heller. It has to be.
It has to.
You know, or Hasbulla.
He's a bit tall for Hasbulla.
Well, he is. Hasbulla's a bit tall for him.
Well, you said that.
Hasbulla's over there somewhere as well. If you've seen the photo, we've got a photo, then we can sort that out.
He's got a Wimbledon shirt on.
He's got a Wimbledon shirt. Yeah, he is a lucky charm this evening, hopefully. if there is a win, then he will be travelling with the team everywhere. I'll get Trev to go off to him. David, when you played in that first stint with Wimbledon, the academy was really strong. You know, you think of some of the names that were there. Joey McAnuff was there, Curtis Davis was there, and you see it tonight again. The academy players on the pitch. This club's reputation with pulling the best talent, it's still got it.
Absolutely. I mean, my son was in the academy here. Terrific setup. You know, great coaches, and look, coaching across the board is kind of standardised now, right? You know, you could be working at Chelsea or Wimbledon. It doesn't mean you're necessarily a better coach, whatever it may be. In fact, you know, sometimes you need to be a better coach, you know, if you're a little bit lower down. And look, I've seen players at Wimbledon have produced them at 15, 16, 17, a bigger club comes in and takes them, but nonetheless, you know, if you will, you know, you're going to get 100 games under your belt, or Anthony, you're going to get 100 games under your belt, and you can't kind of buy that, you know, and it's hard to keep going on loan if you're a youngster. I know we've had some loans this season here. In previous years, loans have been good, right? And you need loans if you're a club like FC Wimbledon. You need some good loan players. But if you want to make a breakthrough and play, then you know you can't go too far wrong, because you know, I know the people in the academy here, they're really good. And obviously Mark's no longer the manager, but he was fantastic, wasn't he, for the club. Jeremy Sawyer as well. You know, so even from my time 20 years ago to now, the academy is really important.
Messaging from Matthew Arwood, can we start a bond to bring Lyle Taylor David back? Lyle. Yes, there you go. Plough Lane Bond 774 is launched. It's called Bring Lyle Home. So that's what we're doing. What people don't realise, and what Lyle doesn't realise, is he's going to be locked in a cupboard here this evening with his forms terminated with Nottingham Forest. And just sign in, you know.
I can't comment on that.
We got it.
I have got a question though.
Someone called Danny DeVito, get the rope out.
I have got a question.
Yes.
David, when I was here, the dressing room was obviously massive, and Arj used to tell stories about the things that went on beforehand. But obviously he told those stories as the manager, so it's whether there was redacted bits or what, it's interesting. But to me, having grown up watching football and then having joined football in the transition between it being very mollycoddled and PC now to what it was when I was a first year pro at Millwall.
Yeah.
What was that dressing room like?
Yeah, it was as Neil was kind of, I guess, probably just scratched the surface a little bit, but you know, that is what it was like. And often the strength of the dressing room, or how good that dressing room is, or the characters that are in it, you know, a lot of that comes out on the pitch, right? If you're the underdog, and often Wimbledon have been the underdog, and it's normally a strength of that dressing room. Players, the character, fight for each other, you know, honesty with each other, everyone doing their jobs. It was a very honest dressing room, demanded a lot of everyone. And it'd just been relegated from the Premier League. Top players, I mean, Michael Thomas was in there. I mean, yeah, the list is endless, like top, really good football players. Probably didn't make the most of it actually at that time. Should have really given it more of an opportunity to go straight back up, but we didn't. But no, the dressing room is so important. And you know, obviously tonight, right, they're up against the Charlton side. They're a good team. That is a really good team. The front two are going to be a real handful for Wimbledon today. And it's about sticking together. If someone makes a mistake, you can't be crumbling now. I've heard that Mark is sort of not allowed the media at the training ground. If that's true, he's trying to create maybe a siege mentality, which is important. Everyone stick together, us against the world. But the dressing rooms, as you all know, I mean, I've been in a few good ones. Like Southampton was outstanding dressing room, and we started in League One. You know, I was at the trophy final the other night, Papa John's, and we won that with Southampton. But all those lads ended up, you know, in the Premier League or winning
Schneidlin.
The Premier League or winning the European Cup. But you know what? They were good lads in League One, and they're still good lads in the Premier League at the top.
Kelvin Davison next to me, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was here with Kelvin, and you know, so the dressing rooms are important. Sunderland, you know, you look back in your career, not only where you did well, but normally where you did well or where you enjoyed, you normally had a good dressing room as well.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm just really interested in that time. You know, I know everyone's going to ask about that time, because a lot of those records between 2001 to 2003, 2000 to 2002, it's very hard to find concrete people talking about it, and because it was a very hurtful time for a lot of people around there. But for you signed for a club that was effectively on the way down, but you propelled them up, it feels.
Yeah, I mean, I think that time whatever the goals were, you know, and in the end I didn't achieve anything, whereas if I was at Sunderland or another club, I was top scorer, but we won the league, we won the championship. But the team was greater than the sort of, it wasn't just about getting goals, you know, whereas at Wimbledon at the time, I got more goals per game than anyone. I was like a Mitrovic then. I got 24 league goals in 28 games in the championship. That was a lot. That was a lot. You know, nearly a goal a game. It was most in the country. But at that time, I relied, Lyle Taylor David service, you know, good teammates.
Neil Ardley whipping it in for you?
Yeah, Neil Shipley, you know, we had Kenny Cunningham. You know, we had a really good team. You know, we had a good team set up around the front two. But ultimately didn't really get team success, you know, which was a shame. But happy days, very happy days.
We are 17 or so away, minutes away from kick-off here at Plough Lane. Is it warming up nicely, Lyle? It is. I mean, what do you reckon of it? Lights on now, looking good.
Yeah, I want to get a game. I haven't got any boots.
Get the rope out.
I've
Someone.
got no boots, and I'd have to cut my hair off. Who could I be for the night?
We'll still use some boots.
I think Zach looks like Bill Cosby.
Let's hope you don't play like this.
Do we have a dump button anywhere? That's what it is. Anyone?
I'm not
dump
too
button?
sure we can talk about it.
No,
definitely not.
he's entangled in certain.
Yes, yeah.
As long as it's not Jada Pinkett Smith, then you're all good. You won't get punched for that.
Lyle Taylor, everyone. What we expected tonight? It's kind of make or break now.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, what's there, 7 games left? It's really difficult for me because obviously Johnny Jackson was my assistant manager when I was at Charlton, and I still know a good few of the boys, so it's really difficult for me because I want them to have success, but ultimately I don't want them to have success at the cost of Wimbledon being out of League One, so I'm blue and yellow tonight.
Well, I mean, the reception that you got from Wimbledon fans has been incredible. They love you here.
Yeah.
You know, we had a Charlton fan when we were sat together who tweeted something that rhymed with Carsten Yanker.
Yes. Yeah.
But, you know, here we go. This is the game from earlier this season at the Valley. Oh, no, it's not. Sorry.
2016.
2016. Why are you playing this?
Yeah, we won this. Dom scored. Yeah, Dom scored. Dominic Polian scored a goal. Well, you'll see it in a sec. But how he scored this goal, we'll never know. We'll never know because Dom was one of them. He'd be anonymous for 85 minutes and then he'd do this, and it was like, well, where's that just come from? Mental toe pump. Like that. But that was Dom. Like, a talented boy, and I mean, it's a shame he didn't make a bit more of his career, but I think he kind of fell down the rungs. And there you go, the forgotten man, Tyrone Barnett. I don't know where he is now.
He's playing for my local team, Eastleigh.
Is he?
Yeah, lovely down there, yeah.
Very good.
He's had a good career.
Very good. Here we go, another throwback game, this time from 2017. Tom Elliott with a red card, a goal and red card.
Yeah, didn't he get sent off for a celebration?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's your favourite celebration?
I don't know if I have a favourite celebration, to be honest.
Dave, what was your celebration?
I didn't have a trademark one. I think I was just delighted when I did score.
There is no feeling like the ball going in the back of the net off of a part of you and your body.
What a finish that is from Tom Elliott. What a finish that is.
Yeah, didn't he get booked for going in the crowd, and he got pulled in by whoever that is there? So whoever that bloke is there in the hat, someone needs to find him. And some happy fans there.
There you go. Here comes another.
Harry Forrester, wow.
Oh, there he is. Someone's just been taken out there.
Listen, do you know what? Bo was in charge at this point. Carl Robinson had left, been sacked, I don't know what it was, but Bo was actually in charge of Charlton, and this is the game that he decided that I was potentially a good signing for him. Pat fell over. Cheers, Pat. Thanks, mate. And then, Amos got nutmeg. It's great. I mean, it was brilliant. And then the year after, I'm sat there saying, cheers, Pat, thanks for the contract. So, but this was a hell of a result. I mean, Charlton at this point were building towards making the playoffs. I think they made the playoffs. Got beat by Shrewsbury. And, 10 games, I think that was the only one that Bo lost.
And this is from last season, finishing in a 2-2 draw.
Pitch looks good there, doesn't it? Did it have no rugby on it at that point? Oh, is that a sore spot? Oh, sorry. We love rugby.
What kind of rugby do you like?
Don't know, the egg chasing bit.
There you go, good finish there. Solid.
You see the difference there in that goal, though, that it makes having someone like a Joe Pigott as a focal point.
Absolutely.
It makes such a difference. You bring people into the game, and look, we don't play little and large anymore, or very rarely do you see that played, but having somebody who can play at the top end of the pitch and just get hold of the ball is what every half-decent team is built on in today's game.
I mean, what do you prefer? Do you prefer playing in two? Do you prefer playing with three behind you in a 4-2-3-1? What's your preference?
I prefer to play in a 2, but there's not very many teams that play a 2 anymore.
Oh dear. Ryan Longman just capitalising.
What a way to get your second.
Absolutely. That was yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer to play in a 2, but I think the modern football is going very much the way of a striker. And we can blame Drogba for that. Drogba came into the Premier League and decided that he could do what 2 people could do all on his own, and that kind of ruined football for us who weren't strong and huge like he is.
Dave, 2 for you all the time, isn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, yes, and I can see all sides of it. The only thing is, I think if you're playing with a so-called 10 or in a different way, that 10 has got to justify playing. You know, the 10 has got to be able to do a little bit of everything. Otherwise, don't play with a 10. Likewise, if you haven't got 2 good strikers, don't play 2 good strikers. You know, so it's kind of managing what you've got, and you know. Lyle spoken about the focal point. The focal point is crucial, and as we've seen, say, Joe going, even with all those goals, you know, AFC just about stayed up anyway. Losing those goals, losing Ollie, you know, that's a lot of good players and goals that have gone out the door, and a focal point which helps you get up the pitch. I mean, and if you're not going to be a big man, that means you're basically putting the ball on the floor an awful lot, and that's a Mark Robinson style of play, right? So, you know, which some sides like to play against, because they'll just sit in and then try and hit you on the break. So it's a real fine balance. That's why it's so hard being a manager, right? So hard, because it's their job to work out the best system and put those players in the right positions, and it's difficult.
What do you think it would take a manager to bring in that new
good
system?
question, great question. I mean, say Mark has played a back 4, back 3, 2 up front, 1 up front, and you know, we saw at the weekend he's kind of gone 3-5-2. I don't know, is it 3-4-3 today? I don't know. I don't know if he's going to, if it's 3, 2 wide and 1 down through the middle. But I think you can achieve an awful lot very quickly on a training ground. You can.
New manager bounce is a real thing.
Yeah, you can. You can really implement stuff. As long as the boys are receptive to it, right? I mean, you'll know.
100%, 100%. The new manager, but I mean, look at Nottingham Forest this year, bottom of the league.
Yeah.
New manager comes in, and I think on the form guide they're second only to Fulham since that day. So that just says it all. And if you've got a group of players who have got something to fight for, a point to prove, and a reason to be out there running themselves into the ground, you're halfway there.
Warming up nicely inside the Cherry Red Record Stadium. We're about 9 minutes away from kickoff. Here, it's a big London derby, a South London derby between Wimbledon and Charlton. A massive game for the Dons this evening. I think we can get the lineup back up, the Wimbledon lineup back up, just to have one sort of last look at it. David, it's about having that solid 3 that are disciplined tonight, because when you've got Jayden Stockley, while you know all about them, Jayden Stockley, Connor Washington, you know what they can do. that back three is crucial.
100%. There's going to be all sorts of bombardment from there. There'll be aerial bombardment into Jaden, and there will be Connor Washington will run off the back of you all day long. So they're going to have to be right at it, and a lot of talking going on to make sure that somebody's tracking runners and 1 up and 2 round kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, not only the three. I think in all this, you know, it's not only goals. We're talking about goals here, right? But if you go back to a couple of years, it was kind of Aaron Ramsdale that kept AFC in the league, really. So I think not just the back three, but in goals, really important.
Amory is big. I just want to get out there. I'm wishing the time to go away. I just want to get out there. I'm buzzing. I'm really buzzing. I've been thinking about this game for a while now, and it just feels like this is going to be a pivotal moment. I can't see. Is it Warped? Is that a fake name? I don't want to be like AFTV. One more. Which current AFC Wimbledon player would you most like to play with? Lyle?
I'd say it'd probably be Ayew. I've heard a lot about him, and I've seen him play a couple of times. I was obviously at the concrete roundabout for that game. And I'd be interested to see close up how good he is, because from what I can see, he's got all of the tools. So it'd be interesting fact-finding mission for me.
Dave?
Yeah, I think that's Al as well. You know, whenever I've seen him, he's looked really good. I think he could have scored more goals, but I think he will score more goals. I think he'll get better. He's only young. He's just a kid. He's just a baby starting out. So I think I like both him and Ridoni. I think that you know, if AFC are going to stay up, they're going to have to get some goals, those two.
Amory, who would you play with?
Who would I play with? Osu, because he runs so much, I wouldn't have to do any of the running.
Nice.
Just pass it to
Nice.
him.
Fair
Yeah.
play. Looking at those. Oh, there you go. Mike Hasty. Is that Mike? It is Mike. So cameras away. You know, decision made. House on the market for Plough Lane Bond 700. Is it 700 or 770 something? I can't remember what it was. Don't tell the wife. No worries, we won't. You can come and kit round mine. Don't worry about it. We're keeping him. I promise we are. Yeah, just looking again at that Wimbledon team. We're looking for a lot of creativity from the fullbacks. Osu, Lawrence. We need something from them tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I just wonder though. I think Charlton are going to be a real threat there front two. Often the three, you look at it like that, and it will very rarely be that three. It will probably be a back five. You know, it's just how much Charlton can force the two wing backs back, really, the two outside, and make it a five. That means, you know, Woodyard, the two in the middle of the park, are going to have an awful lot of work to do, and you know, onus on Ridoni and us out, help out, but also be a threat going the other way. So it'll be interesting to see how it starts.
The one thing you can't do here is let your centre forward be isolated. If you do that, you never win in the game. You got no chance.
5 minutes to kick off here at the Cherry Red Records Stadium. I don't really want to ask for predictions. I really don't want to ask for predictions. Anyone.
Just a win of some sort would be nice. I couldn't care if it goes in off someone's backside. Just a win. I mean,
Off your own?
Well, yeah, I think that might be a throw or a goal kick or something, but just anything to keep this team in this league. However it happens, this team needs to stay in this league.
Because the next game's tough. I mean, the next game doesn't get any tougher.
And that's an emotional one as well.
Yeah,
that's not just a tough game, it's an emotional game.
Yeah. Dave, for you tonight?
Yeah, I hope, as Lyle says, just anything. Because I think after the MK Dons game, the rest of them, barring Wickham, I think are winnable. So something here, I think, you know, anything here would be good, but certainly victory. Because I think Morecambe are home, I think Fleetwood are at home tonight, I think. I could be wrong. So there's teams in and around that could pick up points.
Yeah, Anne-Marie?
Same as Lyle, just somehow, anyway, win. And I think just get that momentum back, get that confidence back.
Oh, I'm going for a 6-0. To Wimbledon. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.
You know, me being Tom aren't playing, right?
You got to have some hope. There's something about this ground that at night, there's something about just football under the lights. This kind of time of year, early to mid-spring, there's the smell of grease in the air. What more do you want? Grease and George Jones in the air. You know, probably George's hair. That's what it is. We'll get a sponsorship next year, like Tresemme or something like that. George, if this club stays up, I'm giving you a haircut. Yeah, everyone, we're giving you a Stuart Deacon.
He's nodding. We got an agreement.
No.
You ain't cutting my hair. Don't even say my hair. Don't say my hair.
Why we cut your hair? We can keep your hair. We'll be
Okay, that's right.
Someone cut his jeans.
Someone cut his jeans.
See, they were trying to cut my hair.
Just holding on to you. We need someone to just hold on to you. But the atmosphere tonight, as the players come out, is electric. A big bit of noise from the middle of the main stand here. And both teams are out at the Cherry Red Record Stadium. That's it from us. Catch you after the game. Come on, you dons. Enjoy the game.